But yes, eye to detail has to be there. That's a second nature for an auditor. One, don't take anything at face.
Everyone, welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, a podcast series by World Development Corporation. I am Ismeet, uncovering some great achievements and contributions of unsung heroes inspiring others. Today we have with us Ms. Vibha Gawde on our show, who is going to reveal some of her professional secrets with which she has carved a niche in the banking industry in the audit and compliance domain. She is currently serving Suryoday Small Finance Bank Limited as its Chief Audit Officer. Thank you so much for joining us today, Ms. Vibha.
Thank you, Ashmi.
So let's quickly get started with our questions that we have for you. So you are currently holding the position of the Chief Audit Officer, which you have reached by taking small professional steps. So certainly they must have been well thought over over a journey of 3 decades. So could you share a brief overview of it, please?
Sure, Ashmi. Thank you. So basically, I started my banking industry exposure from almost 3 decades that I've spent in there. I started it with Bank of Tokyo-Mitsubishi, doing most of foreign exchange transactions, be it remittances, be it import, export, and heading the integrated treasury back office. So that really gave me a domain knowledge of all that's Forex. Having spent around 15 and a half years there, I transitioned into retail banking, where I learned my retail banking as an auditor. And that's where my career as an internal audit started with IndusInd Bank, where I was there for almost 3 years. I learned all the nitty-gritties of the retail banking, liability sections, the lending sections, and from there I joined Kotak Mahindra Bank. And Kotak Mahindra Bank again was a conglomerate, so the experience was enriching, right from retail liabilities, retail asset lending, corporate banking, treasury, their subsidiaries into car finance, investment arm, everything, and all the products in between is what I could get to audit, understand the nuances of the products, of the risks associated, and of course, that really gave me a very, very global, exposure into what an internal auditor should know. So almost having spent 14 years over there, I got an opportunity to join Suryoday Small Finance Bank as their chief internal head. And I had the opportunity to actually build up the whole department from scratch. And that itself was a very enriching experience. So when you do it as a second in line or a third in line as an internal auditor, but when you are at the helm, the responsibilities are different. Pardon me. The responsibilities are different. The challenges are different, and it really hones your skill as a coordinator, as a person who has to interact with the board members, with the audit committee, whether it's the statutory auditors, with the regulator when they come and inspect you, and of course the management. So that has been a very, very enriching experience, right, for the last 4.5 years that I've been with them. So that's been my journey thus far.
I'm
So
sure
for
your
me, I
career.
might not have been very planned, but I have got opportunities and I've been lucky about that.
No, it's great, and I think it's so much about when you get an opportunity, do you grab it or do you let it pass by? So,
Mm.
with what you are telling me, it looks like you've grabbed every opportunity that has come your way, and I feel it's super inspiring. You've worked closely with governing bodies like the RBI and FEDAI. This in itself exemplifies your ability to handle a number of responsibilities. So, still, we would like to know about some of them.
Okay, so as an internal auditor, you of course you don't have a choice, right? You have to interact with them, obviously. They are
Yeah.
the government bodies.
Yeah.
But I believe what really matters here is being transparent, letting your work speak for itself, and being so transparent that they draw comfort from what you are saying. They know that these people mean business with a governance mindset, and that comes right from the management, the tone at the top, and the culture of compliance that every organization has. And if it is there in the organization, you automatically reflect it. And I have been thus far very, very lucky that I have represented organizations who believed in a governance mindset.
Hmm.
So to that extent, I've been extremely lucky.
Yeah.
And Yes, and once you have that confidence, even if you err a little bit, they are there to guide you, because they know that there's no malified intentions. So that helps. I think that's a
Yeah.
secret sauce.
Yeah. Along with it, I'm sure your attention to detail, which in the audit you cannot
Yes.
really work without. So you've also
And
taken some highly complex tasks, namely monitoring of transactions and monitoring of irregular and sensitive accounts. So definitely you must have prevented several misconducts, both intended and unintended ones. Can you please share some instances with us?
Well, Smith, I may not be able to get into the details of the instances because that would not be fair to any organization. But yes, I to detail has to be there. That's a second nature for an auditor. And I don't believe you get it ready-made. Some people may have it inherent. Some build it over time. I
Yeah.
believe I've built it over time with my 20 plus years in as an auditor. And you gradually, with experiences, you learn to connect the dots. So
Yeah.
when you connect the dots, you understand right from maybe a transaction which has gone wrong
Yeah.
to understanding what was the intention, whether it was intentional, whether it was really just an error, human error, to connecting the dots with the body language or maybe some situations which may be too good to be true.
Yeah.
Everything will sound very normal, but then digging deep into it and connecting the dots, which may otherwise be very unconnected to an apparent person, who would just say, okay, nothing, doesn't matter, right?
Your
Everything is
work is in a way like that of a detective.
absolutely. So while auditors were never meant to be bloodhounds, slowly and steadily, with all the new challenges that are coming our way, from doing manual banking to now
Yeah.
a digital bank era, yes, we have to start developing the detective eye. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we have to get into what is underneath
Yeah.
what seems to be normal.
This is super interesting, though. Very interesting job you have. As someone as highly seasoned in the field of compliance and audit and inspection, what advice would you like to give our viewers, who would like to make a career of it?
Okay. So basically, as an internal auditor, there are only two, three things I can surmise. There are lots, but given the time limit, I would just want to focus on two, three things. One, don't take anything at face value. If you take it at face value, you'll never find what really is happening, right? Anything too good to be true, again, I'm repeating myself, is probably never really as good, right? So you have to understand and prod why if somebody is just going too good and achieving targets maybe year on year. Please find out what's the reason. Too good and too bad are two things that you have to really get into. So these are things you have to understand. And I believe as a banker and as an internal auditor, so banking is a very regulated arena. The regulator is really on top of things. So it almost sometimes acts like the first line of defense rather than the third or the fourth or the fifth. And if we have to really navigate through all the challenges that we are facing today, I think the first thing that we need to do, or any organization needs to do, is please follow the ground rules. Very simple. Come back to the basics. It's a tried and tested things which have been put in place as a framework by the regulator, by the organizations, from their own experiences. And if you follow the laid down rules, controls, and the other framework that has been given to you, I think you're almost there. You won't have so many surprises. And then whatever comes new, obviously, there are people who will always be ahead of you when they want to do something negative. But you have to, yeah, you have to somehow be able to challenge them, understand, challenge yourself. Okay, how can I think like them and try and put a control in place? So that's going to be a challenge always there. But the success story is you follow the laid down framework. I think that itself is half the battle won.
Thank you. Thank you so much for a wonderful advice. You're now planning to join a board of directors and you're upskilling yourself in corporate governance. And of course, your experience in your field gives you a very strong foundation for it. However, is there a specific role that, proved pivotal for this new field?
As I said, out of my 36, 37 years that I will be spending in banking, 20 plus years have always been as an internal auditor. And so obviously the the governance mindset has become inherent. The control perspective is inherent now.
Yeah.
And I think that's a natural progression to getting onto the board, because that's where you are able to add value to any organization, to be able to pivot them into the right direction, ask the right questions, because you've also known the other side of the story. So pertinent questions can be asked, and you put things in order in a timely fashion. So nothing can be really new. uh, Anything, any activity, if you break it down, agnostic of the industry that you're in, it need not be only banking, it can be manufacturing, it can be any other industry. If you are down to the basics and you understand the processes, if you understand the framework, I believe you are able to add value.
Yeah.
And I think my experience itself is what will be pivotal to make me a good board member.
And I
Thank
wish
you.
you all the best in your journey.
Thank you so much.
I have to say, your career trajectory and your choices are very motivating, and I'm sure they'll motivate anyone who watches this podcast as well. So, your partner of choice for information on corporate governance is Directors Institute, and you've
Oh,
also taken the ESG course from us to complement your next career move. So,
yes.
what is that one thing that you've liked the most from the overall service, be it the course module, the material, etc.?
So while I've loved the way they've helped me every step of the way to prepare myself for this, I believe the course content in itself is so well developed that a person can just read through self-help and appear for the certification course. And I think that really helped. Maybe I had some background, but the content, it will help anybody even unconnected to governance. That's why. And that, I believe, is the main
Yeah.
strength that the Directors Institute offers.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for joining us today. This was a lovely conversation, and I wish you all the best for all your future endeavors.
Thank you, Smith. Thank you so very much.